And on this Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 edition of Newsmakers, students in Minneapolis got together yesterday to honor Charlie Kirk at Turning Point USA's first event since his death. The conservative activist was scheduled to speak at the University of Minnesota before he was shot and killed on September 10th in Utah. Author Michael Knowles headlined the event last night in place of Kirk. Over 1,500 students and supporters filled the Northrop Auditorium for the sold-out event. Kirk was remembered as the conservative voice of a generation and an important organizer who helped President Trump win re-election. With Vice President J.D. Vance calling Charlie Kirk a martyr for Christianity and a Catholic cardinal calling him a modern-day St. Paul, some suggest his assassination will galvanize throngs of people, notably young conservatives, to be more engaged in evangelical and Catholic churches. Evocations of Kirk-inspired religious fervor surfaced almost immediately after his death and continued to swell as much of Sunday's VIP-studded memorial service for Kirk resembled a massive megachurch service. There have been widespread reports of attendance surging at some evangelical churches. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said at the service in Arizona, Charlie started a political movement but unleashed a spiritual revival. But a religious demographics expert says any surge might be brief, given there are no recent examples of an enduring religious revival after a civic trauma. Political scientist Ryan Berg of Washington University in St. Louis, a researcher into religious trends and a pastor, said attendance only briefly spiked after the 9/11 attacks before settling back into typical levels, and neither the pandemic nor its aftermath saw any long-term increases as a whole. Berg said for there to be a noticeable impact on church attendance, this would require a massive shift in behavior of millions of Americans. In a country of 340 million people, even a 5% increase would mean 17 million more people going to church on a weekly basis. Even if a long-term upswing occurred, Berg said, we need at least 18 months of data to demonstrate a lasting effect. The Reverend Robert Jeffress, a longtime ally of President Trump who leads the First Baptist Church in Dallas, said via email, the short-term impact of Kirk's murder is astounding. The outpouring of emotion rivals that of September 11th and President Kennedy's assassination. Jeffress added, whether this genuine emotion translates into long-term change is yet to be determined, but I pray that it does. And that's Newsmakers for this Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 edition. I'm Keith Black.